It is important to know what your loved one's rights are if they are stopped by law enforcement. Here is some advice from the Delaware Office of Defense Services, or ODS. Be polite and respectful and remain calm when stopped by police. They should always keep their hands where the officer can see them. If your loved one flees from police, either on foot or by vehicle, they may be charged with resisting arrest. Your loved one must give their real name and information. Otherwise, they may be charged with criminal impersonation. Your loved one has the right to remain silent. Anything they say can and will be used against them in court. In order to invoke this right, your loved one must tell the officer that they do not want to speak to the officer. They must be respectful, but firm, when invoking their right to remain silent. Your loved one also has the right to an attorney before and during any questioning. If they cannot afford an attorney, one can be appointed to assist them. In order to invoke this right, your loved one must tell the officer that they want an attorney. Your loved one has the right to refuse to be searched or have their property searched. There are, however, situations where law enforcement can search them or their property without consent. Thus, while your loved one should make clear that they do not consent to the search, they must not resist the search. An individual does not have the right to resist arrest, even if they believe the arrest is illegal. They must obey the officer's commands. If an individual fails to follow the officer's commands, they may be arrested on additional charges. There are many factors that law enforcement officers take into consideration in determining if they have a reasonable suspicion to stop and question a person. Of course, every situation is different, but some potential underlying reasons for questioning by law enforcement provided by the Delaware State Police are that law enforcement may have received a report of some criminal activity which has just occurred in the area. They may have a minimal description of a suspect whom your loved one might resemble. Your loved one's presence might indicate that they are a potential witness who would be able to provide valuable information in an investigation. Your loved one's actions may appear to be suspicious, for instance, running from an area where a crime has just been committed, and they may act even more suspiciously when they see the police officer. In some cases, the officer's observations might lead them to think that your loved one is having trouble and needs assistance. An officer can always approach you or your loved one and ask that you or they voluntarily talk to the officer. If the officer hasn't told you why you have been stopped, you may inquire. If you or your loved one does not want to respond, the officer must respect your right not to answer. However, the officer may arrest you or your loved one if reasons other than the refusal to answer questions establish probable cause to do so.